In yesterday's class, we will discuss the topic is single entry system. Okay, what is single entry system and what are the features of single entry system. The next is difference between single entry system and the double entry system. Now we will discuss the types of single entry. Today's topic is types of single entry and limitations of incomplete records are single entry system. So first is we'll discuss the types of single entry. Types of single entry. So single entry system means this single entry system is generally used to denote the method of maintaining books of accounts which does not follow the principles of double entry system. Okay. So under this, what are the types are there? Generally there are two types of single entry. There are two types of single entry. Under that, first one is pure single entry. First one is pure single entry. And the next one is single entry in the popular sense. Single entry in the popular sense. Okay, these are the two types of single entry. Now, this first one is what? Pure single entry. Pure single entry means under this method only the personal accounts of the debtors and creditors are maintained and all real and nominal accounts are not maintained all together in the books. In this only they'll maintain only personal accounts. Only personal accounts maintained. Only personal accounts maintained. Under this, all real and nominal accounts are not maintained all together in the books. So this method is not popular. Why? Because and mainly one book is what? Even cash book is also very important in any books of accounts. Without cash can we do any transactions? No. So that's why this method is not popular sense. Okay, why? Because cash book, which is important book, is not maintained. Only personal accounts are maintained. The next one is single entry in the popular sense. Single entry in the popular sense. So under this, some subsidiary books are also maintained. So subsidiary books, what are the subsidiary books? How many are there? Generally, 8 subsidiary books are there. There are one is purchase book, purchase returns book, sales book, sales returns book, bills receivable book, bills payable book, cash book, and journal proper. Okay, some under this single entry in the popular sense, some subsidiary books are also maintained, but maintain that subsidiary books, but the postings are made therefrom of such entries which are related to the personal accounts. Okay, we maintain the subsidiary books, but postings are related to the only the personal accounts, that are the debtors and the creditors. Under this, the most important subsidiary book is what? Cash book. Remember that in subsidiary books, most important book is cash book. Okay, under that cash book which is maintained is cash book, that is receipts and payments book. In that cash book, on debit side we recorded the all the receipts, and credit side all recorded the all the payments. So in brief, so the transactions related to the real and nominal accounts are only recorded in cash book and some other subsidiary books without applying the principles of double entry. We recorded in the cash book related to the cash transaction, but we follow any double entry principles? No. So without applying the principles of the double entry. So strictly speaking, that single entry system is not a popular system of accounting, but double entry system in an incomplete and the disorder form. So according to the Carter, single entry cannot be termed as a system as it is not based on any scientific system. Okay, it is not based on scientific system. It does not follow the principles, conventions, concepts like the double entry system. So because of this reason, because of all these reasons, single entry is nowadays known as a preparation of accounts from incomplete records. Why it is incomplete? That it is not based on any scientific system. It is not prepared on any real and nominal accounts. Okay. The next is limitations of incomplete records. Limitations of incomplete records are single entry system. Now remember that single entry system is also known as an incomplete records of ness. Next topic is limitations of incomplete records. Incomplete records and single entry system. Maintenance of incomplete records. Okay, maintenance of the incomplete records suffer from the following limitations. Suffer from the following limitations. So that is it is not a scientific method. And that first limitation is it is not a scientific method. So the single entry system is not a scientific method of accounting because of it does not record the two aspects of each transactions. Okay, it is not a scientific method of accounting. Why? Because it does not record the two aspects of each transaction. Okay, in general rule, is it for every transaction two aspects will be there. That two aspects will be what? One is debit and second one is credit. For example, purchased machinery for cash. What is the entry? Machinery account data to cash account, and debit aspect is machinery and credit aspect is cash account. So it does not record the two aspects of each transaction. Means the single entry system, it does not record the two aspects of each transaction. So this is the limitation of the single entry system. The next one is in the absence of nominal accounts. In the absence of nominal accounts, trading and profit and loss account cannot be prepared. Okay. So in the absence of nominal accounts means in single entry system we will be maintain the accounts relating to only a personal accounts. Now we did not maintain real and nominal accounts. The nominal accounts are relating to the expenses, losses, incomes and gains. Now so there is no nominal accounts, then the trading account and profit and loss account cannot be prepared. So in the absence of operating and the non-operating incomes and expenses, it is not possible to assess the operating efficiency of the business. The next is in the absence of real accounts. The next limitation is in the absence of real accounts. Real accounts relating to the assets now. So in the absence of real accounts, it is not possible to know the exact financial position of the business. Financial position means balance sheet. In the final accounts, after preparing this trading account, profit and loss account, the next step is what? Preparing the balance sheet now. So in the absence of real accounts, it is not possible to know the exact financial position of the business at any particular point of time. At any time, it is not possible to know the exact financial position of the business by preparing the statement of affairs. The next is as complete records are not kept. In the simple entry system, complete records are not kept. So there is considerable scope for fraud and misappropriations. In general, accounts maintained by the single entry system are maintained by the single entry system are generally not accepted by the sales tax department and income tax department and code because it is an incomplete. Now there is not an complete records are not kept. The next is internal check and internal control are not possible. Next is internal check and internal control are not possible. Under this, internal check means an accountant will check automatically another accountant are checked all those accounts like trading account, profit and loss account, balance sheet. Okay, so the checking is getting correct figures or not, correct profits or not, if there any mistakes are done in any ledger accounts or in trial balance, like that. Internal check and internal control are not possible, so that the possibility of misappropriations and fraud is more in single entry system than in case of an double entry system. So while we checking more and more times, it will get the good result. Suppose if checking is not there, so sometimes it will be getting frauds now. So fraud means generally intentionally doing something now. So that's why there is a possibility of misappropriations and frauds are more in single entry system than in case of an double entry system. The next is does not inspire, okay, it does not inspire or enjoy confidence of the outsiders. Okay, so it is difficulty to ascertain the value of the business. Okay, difficulty to ascertain the value of the business, especially the value of goodwill, especially the value of goodwill, and in the event of sale of business by the owner, or an admission or a retirement of a partner. The next is so it is difficulty to sell the business. Why? Because proper values of assets including goodwill are not provided under the system. Okay, so these are the limitations of single entry system. So, in spite of these above defects, the single entry system is quite popular with the small firms. Okay. It is quite popular with the small firms which cannot afford the cost of maintaining the elaborate system of double entry. The next is methods of ascertaining profits from incomplete records. Methods of ascertaining profit from incomplete records. Methods of ascertaining profit from incomplete records. Okay, so under this incomplete system, profit or loss for the period can be ascertained by any one of the following two methods. Here two methods are there. Two methods are there for find out the profit or loss for the period. Two methods are one is statement of affairs, very important. These methods are, one is statement of affairs, or net worth method, or comparison method. Statement of affairs or net worth method or comparison method. Then second one is conversion method. Second one is conversion method. Conversion method is converting single entry system into the double entry system. Now see, under this, before the said two methods are explained, it is essential to understand the nature of ownership of the business. Okay, before going to these two methods, first we'll know the nature of ownership of the business. Means owner of the business, ownership of the business. Okay, that is in case of sole trade business means the entire capital. Okay, under the sole trading business, the entire capital, drawings, profit or loss related to one person. Okay, in sole trader means only the one owner will be there, business relating to that person only. So that entire capital means total capital of the business, any drawings or profit or loss related to the one person only. Okay, the next is, whereas in case of partnership, so minimum 2 members are there, maximum is as their wish. Okay, so in that maximum also limit is there now. So that's why in case of partnership there are minimum 2 members. Okay, so in the partnership there are more than one partner or one person involved. Hence, under that capital assigned at the beginning and at the end of the financial year is the combined capital of all the partner. Whenever anyone of the partnership business is started, 2 or more persons are combined together, means their capital also combined at the beginning and at the end of the year. The next is, as such, each partner's capital is to be ascertained separately. Okay, so that is partner's capital account will be prepared now. So as such, each partner's capital account is to be ascertained separately, by adjusting their respective partners. Adjusting the respective drawings, additional capital introduced, share of their profit, etc. So, in order to draw statements of affairs of firm at the end of the financial year after ascertain the profit for the financial year. So that therefore the preparation of statement of affairs for sole trading and partnership firm explained separately with examples. A statement of affairs is a statement of assets. A statement of affairs is a statement of assets and liabilities of a business extracted from the books of a business following the single entry system. Now see, the first method is now statement of affairs or net worth method. First method is statement of affairs or net worth method. Okay, so this method is relating to the problems. Okay. Now see here, since the under this single entry system, since the nominal accounts are not maintained under the single entry system, already we know that, and for this trading and profit and loss account cannot be prepared. Now write this. According to this method, increase in capital at the end of the year, increase in capital at the end of the financial year is attributed to profit. Increase in capital at the end of the financial year is relating to the profit, and decrease in capital is treated as loss in the absence of further capital introduced, absence of further capital introduced, or drawings. Okay, suppose under this method, increase in capital at the end of the financial year. Financial year is when was the starting date? Financial year is starting from 1st April to 31st March. Okay, so at the end of the financial year it is will be a profit, and decrease in capital, so that decrease in capital is treated as a loss in the absence of further capital introduced or any drawings. Okay, this will be understanding while doing the problems. No, don't worry. So therefore it is imperative to ascertain capital of the proprietor. Who is the proprietor? Owner of the business is called as a proprietor. Is to ascertain the capital of the proprietor at the beginning of the year and also at the end of the year, in order to ascertain profit or loss for the business. In order to ascertain the profit or loss for the business, so for this purpose a statement of affairs is to be prepared. A statement of affairs is to be prepared at the beginning and at the end of the year. Okay, so in this we'll find out the statement of affairs, we'll find out the statement of profit or loss. Is getting profit or loss. Okay, for this purpose of preparing of statement of profits, procedure is there. So that procedure will be discussed in next class. Okay. And that is we'll prepare the first is statement showing the profit or loss of any persons name for the year ended. Sometimes it will be given financial year or sometimes it will be given calendar year.